Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity to come back. I was just listening to Temi, and I just feel myself getting, getting into things. And it's a privilege to come back again. Midwifery is not an easy road, but it's quite rewarding. It's quite rewarding in a sense that I myself was not born here. I came from Africa at a time when I have had to develop myself and my family. But back home in Africa, I was trained as a teacher, a primary school teacher. So something which I have, a profession which I had a passion for. But when I got into UK, I am back on biblical studies. And the biblical studies, I proceed and then completed postgraduate diploma in applied theology with the aim of supporting my husband in ministry, which we have a church. So whatever I was developing was linked to who I am and where I'm coming from. So in terms of my progress into midwifery, it came along when I was working as a care assistant in this current hospital that I am still in at St. George's. I started there as a domestic assistant and then progressed through to become a care assistant. And in 2004, I commenced midwifery training. At some point, I was weighing the point of either to continue and go into teaching or to continue another career pathway. But midwifery was like something I was there and living with. And I asked myself the question, can I do this role? Which was, I was then in the labor ward most of the time as care assistant. Passion from there was just so much. It was a challenging. I asked myself, can I deal with this? I'm saying that because sometimes when we started the midwifery training, we were about 50 of us. By the time we finished training, we were 25. So that means half of the group deferred or stopped. This is how the challenging was before. I don't know, maybe there has been a lot of progress where we need more midwives where we'll stay. So I qualified as a midwife in 2004. The midwifery I started was 2001, if I'm correcting myself. 2001, I started the midwifery. 2004, I qualified as a midwife. However, when I was going through even the interview, it's personal reason, I was pregnant with my last child. I remember going to start the midwifery with my child, 4 months old baby. And so we carried on and we managed to go through, qualified as a midwife, come to work in the labor ward as a band 6 midwife. Where the passion continued to work, I came to the point when I didn't want to do any more progress because whilst I was in training, I had so much interest to develop myself and also to do diabetes in midwifery, diabetes specialist midwife. So I remember having to have a book in my hands all the time about diabetes in pregnancies. And I will renew the same book over and over and over. I was interested in high-risk pregnancies. And so when I qualified, I applied for diabetes specialist midwife a couple of times, but I wasn't getting through. And then I applied for band 7 midwives. I wasn't getting through. So I came to the point when I had decided I will remain band 6 forever. But that wasn't the point because I was allocated by my own manager she asked me to actually, in the same situation, Joyce, I see that you are capable of doing a lot of things, but you seem to have resolved that you don't want to do anything. There is somebody who has come to do a project, and we would like you to have a word with him. And so that is where my journey into the specialist midwife began. That was the point they located me to start the specialist midwife for sickle cell and thalassaemia. So what happened was that I was allocated from labor ward 1 day a week to work with the matron in the fetal medicine unit. And the journey started from there. Within that year of 2014, that is when I also progressed to get a Band 7 role as a labor ward coordinator. So whilst I was developing myself and leading the role in labor ward coordinator, I was then again developing the service for sickle cell and thalassaemia. So very important thing for me, but I have to continue, I have had to committed myself to move forward. Dedication, persistency, because the challenge was there. It wasn't always easy to combine two aspects of care, of specialists or the thalassaemia, sickle cell thalassaemia, and also being a labor ward coordinator. At that time, I have a lot to learn, which there was a lot to give in as well, and a family. And this comes to midwifery when you are mature students, because it's not just the learning or the service that you're providing. You have family responsibility as well, and you combine these all together. So there are sometimes I have to work in the night time in order to be able to be there for the children, in order to be able to do what I need to do. I came to the point when I have to continue. But the good news for me is that I had a manager who was interested in the sickle cell and thalassaemia. And so in my next slides, I think the second slide or third slide, next slide, please. In my slides there, you may find mentoring somehow. With the mentoring I put there, it was very good support I had and somebody who can understand. Now we have to realize that the sickle cell thalassaemia has not been so much of interest or acknowledged in midwifery as it is now coming up. So having to have a manager who supports and share the vision was great. And that has helped to develop the service till now. That is how far I walk into the midwifery. And so my journey from background as a primary school teacher, thinking that I was going to continue as a primary school teacher. However, at somehow down the line, my profession changed into midwifery. Perhaps being in the labor ward also generated my interest to continue to be a midwife and to become and to be trained as a midwife. It is very important. Sometimes we say there is a self you know and there's a self you don't know. There are others who may identify that you are good at something, but then you need to listen. And that is what helped me a lot. The previous slides, I had put there also that, take risk, take chances, follow your passion. These are the things that I can say to encourage my other midwives and student midwives. This is because I remember when in the second year midwifery in placement, the elective clinical placement, we had the chance to go to abroad. I myself took myself to Canada to observe independent midwifery. When I qualified as a midwife and got back to do the BSc, because that time it was a diploma, the dissertation I wrote on spirituality of childcare and spiritual midwifery care. The reason is that I had so much passion. I was linking my faith and my work and experience together. But what is important for us to know, for me, is that the care we give has spiritual connotation. Being compassionate to develop what you want to develop, being compassionate to give the care that you want to give to the patients or our women, has that commitment, their kindness, their respect. So I wrote an essay about, a dissertation about spirituality of childcare. Somebody may ask, why am I mixing my progress in terms of sickle cell and thalassaemia or haemoglobinopathy with that kind of dissertation? When I was giving this, I was reading and saying, what am I going to say? Because within this period of short time. But when I was reflecting, I then came to the point that there are some times I have taken risk in terms of developing and stepping out of my comfort zone. So very important. What are the training that I had? I had to continuously, as Kemi said before, development, self-development, self-awareness is very important. I came to the point when sometimes I feel like I have to give up, but I have to look at my inner strength and to gather the strength and to work on that strength. Also very important for me that I identify my weaknesses, because not every time that I'm able to speak aloud, and I needed to be assertive. So I had to go on assertive training in order to be able to provide care that meets my patients, my women needs. So my journey into as a specialist midwife came at a point when I was having allocated, supported to provide that service. Very important in the development of leadership in midwifery. I have come to realize, being on a capital midwife course, I've come to realize that the services of haemoglobinopathy services in St. George's, or where I'm working at the moment, is a quality improvement project or a quality improvement service. And it is very important for me to say that whenever I learn and improve myself, I also improve the care I provide and improve my steps in leadership and also developing or quality improvement. Next slide, please, if I have to say that. Next slides, if I have any more. So as mentioned before, in last year, 2022, I had the BAME Midwife Award, which I wasn't even expecting, but I'm grateful that that came in. And so we cannot stay where we are. I have a motto that I say, keep on going, keep going, keep going. Don't give up, keep going. And I believe some will bear with me that it's very important that no matter what the challenge may be in midwifery, we keep going. In the providing of the specialist service, we have experienced a lot of different outcomes, but majority and 99% has been the best outcome. But when it's not best outcome, it's very difficult to bear. So challenges are there, but we only have to seek to do the best. And that is me, to give in myself, to be passionate about what I am doing. It may not sound to be, but when I am explaining to my patients, my heart is inside what I'm talking. So be passionate and have the interest to develop yourself, a commitment to improve understanding. This is where I am. Next slide, please, if I have any more to say. So this is my last. Thank you so much. But I say that my job, it doesn't end here. Internationally, last year, I had the opportunity to go to Ghana to do some projects with the Trio Bridge. And it's all about improving maternal health and fetal health, mothers and babies' health. So whatever we are, we need to continuously developing ourselves, developing the role, improving the service we provide for patients or women to benefit from. Thank you very much.